Can StoryOrigin really help me grow my newsletter and get more reviews for my book? The answer? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm MK Williams. I'm an author and independent publisher. I love sharing my insights all about self-publishing with you. Before I get into the details of today's video, don't forget to hit subscribe. That way you can be here every week as I release new videos about self-publishing, making a career of being an author, and now being a mompreneur. So I first heard about StoryOrigin through Dale L. Roberts and his book, The Amazon Self-Publisher, How to Sell More Books on Amazon. Now, a lot of the strategies in here do apply off of Amazon, and StoryOrigin would be one of them. And I'm really lucky that I signed up when I did with StoryOrigin because it was just a week before their special launch offer ended. So StoryOrigin was free while they were in beta, but they recently switched to having a free version with limited features and a paid version with most of the options that you would be familiar with if you've already heard about StoryOrigin. Y'all know me, I am super frugal and I like free the best. But I am willing to spend on something if it provides value to my business, either more time, better ROI for what I'm doing, etc. So the sign-up offer was that you could lock in a lower price on their standard subscription for life or get 3 months for free. Usually I would lock in the lower lifetime rate, just knowing, that's a long time to be saving. But I still didn't know if this would be valuable for my business. So, could this service actually do what they were promising, which is to grow an email list and help me get more reviews? And then it was the question of, well, do those reviews actually generate more sales? That's always the promise, right? So I had a lot to evaluate with this, and I thought, you know what, for free 3 months, I'm going to give it a try. So today I'm going to be reviewing with you what my experience was trying out StoryOrigin for 3 months, if I found that it was helpful, what extent it was helpful, and if I am going to be continuing to pay for a subscription moving forward. So starting out, my goal was to increase the number of reviews and therefore the number of people reading the infinite ahead of the release of the Alpha Nina, which is going to be coming out later this year. Since the clock was ticking on the 3 free months I signed up for with StoryOrigin, I got to work right away. So I offered up free audiobook codes for the Infinite and a free ebook version as well as a review copy for people to review. I posted these freebies on Twitter, Facebook, and Goodreads, both as a blog post on my author profile and in some indie author groups. So I was putting out the word everywhere that, hey, I'm looking to get more reviews in exchange for an honest review. You can get a free copy of the book. I also set up the Dora Diaries, which is an added short story from the Project Collusion series. It's a story in between Nailbiters and Architects. I already had this as a PDF, and I was like, well, part of StoryOrigin is that you can give not just review copies, but also reader magnets. And the Dora Diaries is definitely a reader magnet. So I already had it in a PDF version. So people who subscribe to my fiction list, they get that right away. But then I had to upload it again in Smashwords so I could get it converted to EPUB and Mobi so I could upload it to the StoryOrigin system. So you have to have a PDF, EPUB, and Mobi, all 3 versions to upload in order to offer it as a reader magnet, review copy, etc. on their system. This was fine. It was just a little extra work. I get why they want all 3 formats, but it was just kind of, extra steps, but I got it all set up. So to recap, I had a full book on there I was offering a review copy for, as well as my audiobook codes for it. And I also had a reader magnet on a different book. They're both sci-fi books, but one is more post-apocalyptic, one's more alternate universe. So 2 different veins of sci-fi were covered there. So some of the immediate benefits I experienced was that I started sending my fiction newsletter again. Oops, I really stopped doing that when my baby was born, and it was never really regular to begin with. So some backstory on me: before I left my corporate job to become a full-time author, my day job was email marketing. So the one thing I didn't want to do when I got home and I was working on my books was email marketing. I really didn't work on building my list. It's definitely been something that's hindered me, this whole time. But I was focusing on other elements, and I just my eye starts to twitch when I think about it. And mainly it's because I know how much work and effort goes to doing email right. And there's a lot of strategies out there that I think do email wrong and also violate canned spam standards and things like that. I almost know too much about it because then I get too detailed about it. Whereas if I knew less, I'd probably be like, this is fine, this is fun. But then I get too in my head about it. Yeah. So by signing up with StoryOrigin, I actually had to put on their dates I would send my newsletter. So that actually made me stick to it because I agreed that I was going to be promoting other people's books or group promos, which I'll get to in a moment. And I literally got a reminder from their system to say, hey, you're supposed to send this today. So that was super helpful. And I treated this trial like I would an actual book launch. I wanted to get traffic for the Infinite, but I also knew I had to pull my weight on the group promos and drive more people there as well, so everyone got more readers, especially since everybody who's in my audience had already read my books. Ideally, that's how they got on the list. So it was best to tell them about other books, and those authors are going to tell their audience about mine. So I had to pull my weight and also promote those group promos, not just through the newsletter, but through my other channels, and I was doing that as well. So I noticed as more people claimed their review copy, they were added to my fiction mailing list. That's great. I have 2 mailing lists. One is for fiction, based on them subscribing to my fiction bonus reader materials through Nailbiters, Architects, Infinite, etc. And then I have a separate list for people who subscribe for my Author Your Ambition website, my bonus book material, self-publishing news, and tips. So everyone in this case, because I was just testing out StoryOrigin for my fiction books, was added to my fiction mailing list. So they were getting information, updates about my book, how the Alphanina is coming along with editing and things that are happening with it. And if you want news on that, you can subscribe as well. But they were also getting information on these promotions and newsletter swaps I was part of. So I wanted to make sure that when I was sending out this newsletter, it wasn't literally just here's a bunch of other things. I did have updates to be providing on the Alphanina as it was coming out, asking for a review for the Infinite. So it actually kept me more honest to informing my audience about the book coming up. You know, it's a best practice. I talk about it all the time. I know I should do it. I just wasn't doing it. And so doing this trial really made me say like, oh, I have to do it. So that was one nice benefit. So the first things I tried with StoryOrigin were the group promos. So that's where some cases it was like 12, 20 books are all within this same group promotion, either as a free book, free first book in series, audiobook promotion codes, review copies being given away, just a sale, like a discounted price, which for me, since I was giving away a review copy, I said, well, it is a sale because I'm just giving it to you. Please review my book. So I signed up for several group promos. Now, the ones I looked for, and I'm able to search within there for different genres. So I looked for science fiction, alternate universe. So some were Sci Fi Freebies, first in series. There was like Kicka Females SciFI. And then I saw one that was for post-apocalyptic babes. So I did Nailbiters for that one, not Infinite. So I did deviate a little. But I specifically wanted to find readers who wanted to start a science fiction series with a strong female lead. So being able to find these specific group promos was great. So I got several people to download a freebie review copy of the Infinite right away. Then it was a game of waiting for reviews to come in. So my mailing list grew the most from the group promos. I got 100 new subscribers within a few weeks. That was awesome. But then it really slowed down. And of all the people who claimed that copy from the group promos, nobody left a review. And what I noticed was that when I went to then send out the next newsletter, a lot of them unsubscribed. Like they definitely wanted the freebie item. They took it and then they were very quick to be like, okay, bye. Which I don't blame them. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I only want people on my list who want to be on my list. So like, if you don't want to be there, I don't want you there. But it's also kind of like, if you're signing up through these things, the expectation is very clear from everybody who is in the group promos of like, hey, you know, these authors are giving you this free copy or they're giving you this deal. Don't forget to leave a review. And then I can't remind them to leave a review because they unsubscribed. So yeah. And that's just the nature of email marketing. And that's a lot of the reason why I haven't been doing some of the, I don't want to call it scammy, some of like the hackery type things to build an email list, because like the slow and steady build pays off better over time versus just saying, I have this many people on my list, but none of them engage and they all keep unsubscribing. Like I'd rather have a smaller list that's more valuable than a big list that means nothing. So anywho, that was a little side path. Okay, so next I tried the newsletter swaps. I noticed with the group promos that I got those subscribers claiming the free review copy, and then I would see the unsubs. So people just wanted that freebie. There's a term called freebie seekers. They were definitely that. So I thought it was time to dive into the newsletter swap. So instead of being in a large group where maybe somebody just saw, oh my gosh, there's 20 books or first in series, I can get them all for free, click, 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 which I'm guessing some people did. The newsletter swaps are more one-to-one, and a lot of people max out their newsletters as only having maybe 4 or 5 of those tops in a newsletter. So it's more, hey, I think you might like these, and people maybe pick 1 or 2 too. So I tried one newsletter swap in June. So the way this works is I had May, June, July were my 3 free months. So May, I was all group promos. June, I was some group promos, one newsletter swap, and July, I was all newsletter swaps. So I saw a good amount of clicks on these, not nearly as many downloads, but I did actually get a review from somebody who did the newsletter swap. So that was more promising on what the actual final thing was. So as I was trying out the membership with StoryOrigin, Evan, who's a creator, and his team were adding new features, and I was engaged with the Facebook group where other authors were sharing their success. I did notice that the authors who shared those success stories were in very popular genres like science fiction romance or just romance, and a good portion of them were in Kindle Unlimited. So Evan did add an option to note if you were wide or KU in the group promos and newsletter swaps, which was really helpful, right? I don't want my book to go out to a newsletter of people who are all about KU because my books aren't on KU. And I don't want somebody to be in my newsletter who's on KU because my readers aren't part of KU. So that was something that was really helpful to be able to sort from that. So I'll say that overall, this wasn't a slam dunk. And in general, there's no service out there, StoryOrigin or anything else, that's a one button, press that one button and you expect all these new reviews and readers and sales. So I did spend a lot of time and effort to give this my true best effort. I think I got meh results. So for you, if you think this service or any one service is magically going to turn around your sales and reviews, you're definitely fooling yourself. It's always a balance between how much time you want to spend marketing your book and how much time you want to spend writing your next book. So I'm going to go over my final verdict. So did StoryOrigin help grow my email list? Yes. Again, I'm not sure how many are just freebie seekers. We'll see how many stick around in the long term when I do launch the Alpha Nina. Did I get more reviews? Yes, I got 2 reviews from the same person. So they claimed Nailbiters from one of the swaps. They read it. They really liked it. They actually reached out to me personally. They said they were interested in other books. So they claimed The Infinite as well. So I sent them that link from StoryOrigin for them to claim. They left me reviews each time on Goodreads. All the other people who claimed items or requested review copies did not. So I would say StoryOrigin is definitely not a silver bullet to thousands of reviews. So the majority of people who requested review copies of the ebook or audiobook codes did not leave a review. So the StoryOrigin system sends automated reminders out to people. So they claim it and they send out the reminders and they'll even tell you what day they sent it. And it was crickets. So of those people who requested those reviews, their history was all 0 for 0 for leaving reviews. So I should have said no, but I wanted to make sure I gave them the time to read and review before the trial ended. So that wasn't good. So I do think there's a lot of people on there where it's going to show 0 for 0 and they're not going to review it. I didn't get anybody who applied for the review who had a good review score. Everybody who was applying to review my book and either get a free audiobook code or the free copy didn't have any history of reviewing things. Now, it could be that they just signed up. They're doing a lot of promotion around the service right now, and maybe in a couple months they'll finally get to it if they did go and claim a bunch of books. But in the time, that 3-month period, only the one person claimed who got a review copy actually reviewed it. And then it was through me connecting with them, they got another copy and reviewed it. So that was one really good positive, but I don't think the subscription fee every month is worth it to maybe get one good reader experience every 3 months. All right, did I get more sales? So not that I could tell, my sales have been consistent during the time that I was in this trial. So maybe there are going to be some residual things that come through later, but I didn't notice a sudden spike in my sales. Obviously that makes sense because I wasn't getting more reviews, which I was hoping was going to lead to more sales. I got one extra review for Nailbiters, one extra review for Infinite, which is great. I appreciate it. Every review is really hard earned. But for a site that's saying that like you're going to grow your newsletter and you're going to get more reviews, that didn't happen. So for me, is the $10 a month for the standard subscription service worth it moving forward? So for me, the answer is no, at least not right now. But I will say that you should check out the service for yourself. They do have a free version, which I'm now downgrading to. So I'm still going to be using the service. I'm just not going to be paying for the added features. And that's to say, if it can help me build my newsletter list, that's great. A lot of the features that help you grow your list are part of their paid subscription. And for me, $10 a month, that's $120 a year. Actually, I think when you pay annually, it drops down to $100 a year. That's a lot of money that I could be putting somewhere else that would actually generate sales and things of that nature. So for me, it's a lot to spend when I have other items that I think would be of more value. But again, that's just for me, and that's for my genres. If you are in Kindle Unlimited, if you are in the romance genre, check this out for yourself. You may find that it's much more beneficial to you. I do have an affiliate link below if you want to sign up for a paid membership. It will support this channel. But for myself, I'm going to go with the free version for a few more months. And I'll probably provide an update in my newsletter on the Author Your Ambition side, the nonfiction newsletter. So I scrutinize every dollar I spend on my business and just the amount that it's asking for. I didn't see an ROI, so I'm not going to be spending that money. So I think I'm going to check out some other services on this channel moving forward to see if the other ones that also promise the same thing do better or worse. So that'll be a fun comparison to do. I do know that the Wide for the Win newsletter swap group specifically only wants to use StoryOrigin links because of the ability to track clicks to make sure people are actually putting it out there. But the only way you can sign up for newsletter swaps in StoryOrigin is on the paid level. So we'll see how well that pans out for my plans. If I upgrade again, I will let you know. So after my experience with StoryOrigin, what are your thoughts? Have you used StoryOrigin? Did it work for you? If so, what's your genre? Do you publish wide? If you can share some tips below and we'll keep the conversation growing, that would be great. If you want to join my newsletters, that'd be great. If you are interested in science fiction, join my fiction newsletter. If you're interested in learning more about self-publishing news, tips, etc., join my Author Your Ambition newsletter. I'll have links for both below. All right, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit subscribe. That way YouTube knows that you're getting value from this video and can get it in front of more authors like us. And now you can get back to writing your book. Hey, if you want to continue to support this channel and my other creative work, please head over to buymeacoffee.com and support my channel. You can buy me 1 coffee, 3, 5, 10, or you can even get a membership. Those who are in the membership are actually going to be included in the acknowledgements pages of all of my published books moving forward as a big thank you. And you can even get some additional options to get an Instagram thank you post shout out or a shout out in an upcoming video. Thank you so much for supporting this channel.